bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Ask me how we got here, 'cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown, but we both know how to swim, no worries, let's flow for now. Let's take it slow, where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow.
What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City transfer video. Today we're going to be, well, running a new idea, running a new series. It's a Manchester City transfer show, and it's a brilliant way for you guys, all my viewers watching live on air. You can just leave your thoughts in the live chat, pop your questions in there, and when you pop your questions in, I'll try my best to answer it, and that's pretty much it, really. We'll just have a general chat about Manchester City transfers and the things that are the directions that the transfers are heading in, and we're also going to be able to digest all the news and everything that has been happening. So if you are enjoying the content, please do subscribe. We're on that push to 30,000 subscribers now, less than 300 subs away, so any help towards that will be much appreciated. Also, don't forget as well to go check out my social media links. They're in the description below, and if you want to go and search me, you can. And the tags to them are on the yellow banner. I've not been live in a while, okay? Give me a break. Give me a break. Also, don't forget as well to go and let your thoughts in the comments below if you're watching this after the video, or as I said, in the live chat right now, and leave your questions, and I will try my best to be able to get that, answer them for you guys. And also don't forget as well to leave a thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. I do normally set a like goal, but I don't know how this is going to do. As I said, it's a new series, so we'll have to wait and see. So thank you to everybody that has tuned in so far. Much appreciated. So I think we'll start first by speaking about Mateo Kovacic. I think this is probably one of the most straightforward transfers that we have had out there. In all my time of covering Manchester City transfer news, I mean, I've been doing this. I mean, I started my channel in 2016. I started doing transfer updates in 2017. So this is my 6th year of covering Manchester City transfer news. And I think this Mateo Kovacic one may well be the most simple, the most straightforward transfer that I have seen. Manchester City interested in signing Mateo Kovacic. Chelsea are having a sale like no other. And there is a reason why Chelsea are selling a lot of players. It's all to do with financial fair play. So they're wanting to get rid of players off their books. So it allows them to be able to compete with financial fair play, not just on their wage structure, but also with money coming in as well. They've got a massive squad at Chelsea. So they're looking to cut down on numbers and looking to get rid of any players that they don't feel like they need. And I imagine that any player out there who has interest from other clubs, any club that's willing to pay enough money, can sign anybody from Chelsea, which is absolutely mental. It's why you're seeing the likes of Kovacic joining Manchester City. It's why you're seeing the likes of Kai Havertz joining Arsenal as well. That in itself speaks volume. Questions have to be asked at Chelsea. Manchester City, though, capitalising upon that and bringing in a proven, experienced Premier League midfielder. Mateo Kovacic can play anywhere across that midfield line. He can go and play as a number 6. Rodri could be out injured for the next couple of months or so. You need somebody to come in. Gundogan leaving. Leaves a little bit of a space there for a holding midfielder. Calvin Phillips, he'd have been rubbing his hands at this, but now we've got more cover there. So what does that mean for Calvin Phillips? Who knows? But it does mean that Mateo Kovacic, he comes in and he's going to be able to compete for a place in Manchester City's midfield. And the rumours are that Kovacic is going to be used as a more advanced midfielder for Manchester City rather than a defensive midfielder. That's very interesting. So if City are continuing with their back three and they want to push John Stones more into midfield, he can continue to sit alongside Rodri, and Kovacic will come in. And with Gundogan leaving Manchester City, it seems, then Kovacic, there is a space in Manchester City's midfield for him to come in, and he would be competing with the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, and obviously Mateo Kovacic. There's 4 top quality midfielders for 2 more advanced central midfield roles in the Manchester City squad. So that should be entertaining. It should be good. I think Kovacic adds a little bit of bit more tenacity into Manchester City's midfield, a little bit more hunger, a little bit more desire, a little bit more bite. He is the type of midfielder where if Manchester City are going to be going up against a stubborn team with 11 men behind the ball, they've got a low block in, Manchester City lose out on the ball, they want to win that ball back, they like to do it very quickly. You need someone who's going to go in and put them aggressive challenges in to try and win the ball. And I think that's what Mateo Kovacic does for Manchester City. The fact that we're able to bring in somebody who is experienced in the Premier League, who does know teams, who's played against them week in, week out, and he is able to offer his experiences for the young players that Manchester City have got, whilst also grabbing Kovacic at the back end of his prime years as well for an affordable deal, £25 million plus £5 million in add-ons, is a good deal, in my opinion, for Manchester City. I think Manchester City here have got the better deal than Chelsea. Chelsea, as I said, just having a quick fire sale, looking to just get rid of players as quickly as possible. The likes of Koulibaly is going to be leaving Chelsea. We obviously already mentioned Havertz. Kovacic is going. More and more players will be leaving Chelsea in the next couple of weeks. There is a big desire being put on a certain date, 30th of June. So that's the close off for financial fair play for them. So Chelsea wanting to get rid of players, it's got to be done quick, and it's got to be done in the next 7 days. So Kovacic, they will want that transfer sorting in the next 7 days. The rumour is he's having his medical, according to The Guardian, he's having his medical today. Could be having it right now. I'm awaiting confirmation. Some kind of picture of him turning up at a medical facility either in Manchester or in London as well. If it is in London, because Manchester City do have a base in London, then obviously with his home being there as well, might make things a little bit more straightforward. That does remain to be seen. So Kovacic very much looking like he is going to be the first player in at Manchester City. And with him being the first player coming in at Manchester City, you're going to be wondering to yourselves, who might be the second player? Well, we'll speak about Josko Gvardiol. We've had some updates on him over the last 7 days, over the last week or so, and he was meant to be Manchester City's second signing. All focus, once we'd signed Kovacic, was meant to go on to Josko Gvardiol. A lot of that depends on Gvardiol, with the fee being so big with RB Leipzig. 100 million euros is what we're looking at. It means Man City need to sell players. It means Aymeric Laporte needs to leave. All quiet on that front. João Cancelo needs to leave to raise funds for that transfer. Again, not hearing anything about that. All quiet on that front as well. So Josko Gvardiol, I think that's a little bit away, in my opinion. I don't think that's as soon as some people were making out. Certainly not earlier in the week when they were saying immediately upon Manchester City signing Kovacic that we're going to go out there and we're then going to push on and try and sign Josko Gvardiol. Interest for Manchester City. We need the player sales. I don't think that's as advanced as what some people may think. And the other player Manchester City showing a strong interest in right now is Declan Rice from West Ham. Already done my transfer update today. If you want to go and check this out after the live stream, you can. Feel free. But Declan Rice, Manchester City, according to DiMarzio, a reliable source, he says that Manchester City negotiating, and it's an advanced negotiation for Declan Rice to become a Manchester City player. He firmly believes that Declan Rice is going to become a Manchester City player. That's interesting in itself. He reports on a fee. I've heard different numbers being mentioned, anywhere between 90 to 100 million pounds. That won't be a flat upfront one-off payment of that amount of money. It will be done in instalments. I'm hearing a lot about 75 million pounds plus £15 million in add-ons is how I imagine the breakdown of this transfer would be. One thing I will say, and I think it'll be very interesting, we know West Ham, they're interested in Calvin Phillips. Today it's been reported Bayern Munich have Calvin Phillips on their radar as well, which is interesting, shall we say. It'll be very interesting, though, because we know West Ham want Calvin Phillips. We want Declan Rice. Might we see a swap? Well, Manchester City, we have done swaps before. We tend to do it in terms of cash plus cash type situation. So when we bought João Cancelo from Juventus, it was involved in a swap deal with Danilo, but it was involving cash. Man City signed João Cancelo for what Juventus wanted for him, and at the same time, Juventus paid cash to sign Danilo, and that's how I think this might go with Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. If he does leave Manchester City and he does go to West Ham, then I can see Manchester City saying, we'll sign Declan Rice for cash. This is how much we're willing to pay. Will you accept this bid? We know no bid's gone in for Manchester City yet. No bid will go in for Manchester City until they are absolutely certain that West Ham will accept that bid. So until that happens, Manchester City will have constant communication. They're being kept up to date by West Ham on Declan Rice. Personal terms isn't a problem. It's all about the structure of this deal and how you get that deal to happen and getting that over the line. This is a difficult transfer. I said Kovacic is a very simple transfer. Declan Rice is a very complicated transfer, and it's complicated because there's not just Manchester City involved. Arsenal are involved. They want Declan Rice. More than any other midfielder, they want Declan Rice. They are pushing hard for Declan Rice, like Manchester City as well. So it is very much, and we don't normally see City doing a straight shootout with another club for a player, but that very much looks like what this is. So I would say with Declan Rice, take things with a pinch of salt. I'm not saying Di Marzio is unreliable. I find him incredibly reliable. What I am saying here is just approach the transfer with caution. This isn't normally how Manchester City do their transfers. As I've said, I've been covering City transfer content for 6 years now, and this isn't normally how Manchester City do their transfers. Man City like sell-on fees. Man City like buyback clauses. Man City like release clauses. Manchester City don't like negotiations. They don't like getting into a bidding war, so it will be very interesting to see how Manchester City weigh this one up with Declan Rice. But if the rumours are to be believed, then he could well become Manchester City's second signing after Mateo Kovacic. Kovacic will be a signing, but I think that will come next week rather than this week. Obviously, we've got, roughly an hour or so left of normal regulated hours here in the United Kingdom. So we'll see what direction we go in. I think next week will be the week that Manchester City strike in the transfer market with Kovacic. The question is, who's it going to be after them? Now, very briefly and very quickly, just moving on to the outs and some updates on that. Cole Palmer, I'm expecting to leave Manchester City. Dortmund apparently interested in signing him. I know there's a lot of interest in him, and I imagine City will be loaning him out rather than making that a permanent transfer. In terms of other updates on the first team squad, Kyle Walker, City trying to get him onto a new deal. Bayern Munich working hard to try and make that transfer happen as well. So will it be City? Will it be Bayern? Well, Kyle Walker apparently is interested in staying at Manchester City. He'd rather stay at City than join Bayern. So if Man City push hard enough, they can make that happen. The Walker situation is very similar to Gundogan's situation, though. He is set to join Barcelona. 2-year deal with the option of a 3rd year. Manchester City were willing to offer him 12 months with the option of another 12 months, or a 1-year deal with the possibility of a 2-year deal. Ilkay Gundogan been given the green light by Barcelona that he can join them, he can be registered, so he will become a Barcelona player. I've heard rumours, might even be tonight, that Ilkay Gundogan puts out a statement announcing that he will leave Manchester City and he will join Barcelona. If that doesn't come tonight, could come this weekend. I think by the very latest, that will come on Monday. Ilkay Gundogan has officially left his international duty. He's met up with Barcelona, completed his medical, signed his contract. I presume put the shirt on, held his shirt, done all the announcements, because he is now on holiday, chilling out, having a break. Last seen in Monaco. That's right, guys. These are the kind of details JSGC has to do with his digging to get all these transfer content to keep you guys up to date every single step of the way. Bernardo Silva has an offer from Al Hilal over in Saudi Arabia. Some rumours were saying around £70 million per year they were willing to offer him. Other rumours have said just £40 million. That's still very close to nearly £1 million per week, which is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. But Bernardo Silva has offers from the Middle East. He has offers from Europe as well. PSG are the team most keen on signing him. I'm not too sure. It doesn't sound to me like Bernardo Silva's too keen on PSG. Real Madrid haven't come calling. He would like to go to Barcelona. Problem Barcelona have, the only way they can sign players and bring players in is how they've done it with İlkay Gundogan, which is for free. They're not going to pick up Bernardo Silva for free. He will cost a big fee. So, to me, I'm not sure. Bernardo Silva giving himself time, having a good think about what is best for him. We'll have to wait and see. Riyad Mahrez as well has offers from Saudi Arabia as well. Again, no real decision has been made on his career for his next steps anyway. And I am expecting Riyad Mahrez at this moment in time, for me anyway, to stay at Manchester City. Is there anybody else that I've missed in there? Like I said, no updates on Laporte, no updates on Cancelo either leaving Manchester City. I don't think there's too many more players that I'm expecting Manchester City to sell potentially this summer, unless big offers do come in for any of our players. And after all, in my opinion anyway, it is a case here where every player for Manchester City will be available for transfer. Manchester City manage their transfers on net spend, and if you are a club that's prepared to pay enough money, then any player at Manchester City is available, in my opinion. Some players worth a lot more than others. We'll have to wait and see with what happens with regards to that one. But the transfer market, it's only just open for the summer. The summer is long and literally anything can happen. So, heading to the chat. I can see cool emoji faces in on the chat. Thank you very much for that. He reckons that we need Messi and Mbappe. Well, Messi's already signed over in the United States of America, turned down a massive offer from Saudi Arabia and signed for Inter Milan. Mbappe's situation keeping a very close eye on. Pep Guardiola, though, has already confirmed we won't be making a move for Mbappe. He said there's only one team that will be signing Mbappe. We all know who that will be, and it will be Real Madrid. Mac Football, thanks very much for tuning in. Much appreciated. And, yeah, got to love the intro of what's going on, guys. Markland, thanks for tuning in from Jamaica. Love that one. Hope you are well. Hope the sun is shining out in the Caribbean as well. Jack, thanks very much for tuning in. Corsu, thanks for tuning in. Good afternoon to you as well. James asks, how do I feel about the swap for Gundo to Rice? It feels like we're going to hurt without Gundogan. Well, Gundogan's the type of player that he was always there in the big, important moments for Manchester City. He was always there. Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent, captain of the treble-winning Manchester City side. He turned up and scored so many important goals. That FA Cup final, which was our penultimate game ago, he was the man who rose highest, won a Manchester derby in an FA Cup final for Manchester City. He is still of high quality. I am astounded that Manchester City haven't matched what Barcelona were willing to offer him 2 years with the option of another year. All Man City needed to do was that, and that would have been enough to have kept him at Manchester City. But City seemingly looking to freshen up their squad, bring in some more homegrown talent, younger players, energetic players, players that we can have here for the next 10 years. And unfortunately for Gundogan, getting no younger, he isn't going to be here for the next 10 years playing at the top level of professional football, whereas Declan Rice will. And Manchester City, they've been very good at doing this as well, have been very good at identifying when's a good time to let players leave and who to replace them with. So I back Manchester City. If Man City think Gundogan's time to go is here and Declan Rice's time to shine is here as well, then I firmly back Pep Guardiola and Chicky and what he's done in the past and what he is doing right now is my thoughts. The Real, thanks for tuning in, says, been watching my channel since I started. Fair play to you, mate. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. These are the comments that JSGC loves to read and loves to see. It can be hard work doing YouTube. I do try and read as many of the comments as possible. I'm not always able to reply to everybody. I don't have enough time in the day to be able to do that, but seeing such positivity and support and dedication to my channel, it makes it all worth it for me. So the real thank you so much for that, much appreciated. Brian says, we're going to have to adjust without Gundogan. I do agree. He's massive boots to fill. I imagine City will be looking for a little bit more from their midfielders, rather than just, your Gundogan's replacement, do Gundogan's job. Well, there's no one out there that can really do Gundogan's job. So whilst players are going to have to adapt to Manchester City are also going to have to adapt and adjust to life without Gundogan. So, Brian, I think you're absolutely spot on there. BB, thanks very much for tuning in. Ethan as well, thank you very much for tuning in. Ads ask, genuine opinion on Rice. I'm going to stick with what I've been saying for the last 18 months or so while City's name's been chucked out there in the Declan Rice pot. And that is very much, Declan Rice is a very good player. I always identified Rice as being a player that's probably going to play as a contingency, as a backup to Rodri. Is he as good as Rodri? Absolutely not. Can he sit alongside Rodri? Absolutely. Is that Man City's plan for him? Is the question, though. John Stones has done so well there. It would be a shame to break up that Rodri-John Stones partnership, in my opinion. But Declan Rice provides more competition, because if there's an injury to a Stones or a Rodri, you're asking for inferior players to come and step up. And I mean that as no disrespect to the squad-rotated players, but John Stones and Rodri have really hit the next level. And Declan Rice needs to hit that next level if he wants to be playing, if that is Man City's plan to play him in them number 6 roles. If not, it might be in a further advanced role as more of a number 8, a player that's going to pivot, that's going to go into attack, is going to drop deep, going to defend when City's backs are against the wall, is going to attack when there's a low block that's being put in place. Can Rice break down defensive teams? Does he have the quality? Well, he's good with his ball distribution. He's adaptable. Let's not forget, as I said, he can play as a number 6, a number 8, can play as a centre-back as well. Isn't unfamiliar to him. Provides competitive competition for the Manchester City squad. It is a lot of money, and to me, too much money for Manchester City to be spending for a player that's just going to be a squad player, which suggests to me Declan Rice will be a starter for Manchester City, and Man City will find a way to get him into their squad if we do sign him. That is a big, big if. Ads ask Twitter, winding me up, new thing every minute. 1 minute certain Arsenal player, next certain that is a Manchester City player. Different sources saying different things. One of my jobs when I'm giving my transfer updates for you guys is to identify what's fact, what's fiction, who's reliable, who's not, who's to listen to. I think one of the most reliable that you can listen to right now, 2023, June 2023, to me one of the most reliable is David Ornstein. So if you want to stick to certain sources and what they say, David Ornstein is a good way to go, because you will get a lot of fact from him. He's one of the best transfer journalists out there, in my opinion. And if David Ornstein reports on something, certainly for me anyway, I sit there and I take in and listen to what he has to say. Ewan, thanks for tuning in, says, what do I think thinking is of Gvardiol? I presume that Manchester City's plan here, sell Cancelo, sell Laporte, Gvardiol comes in, we can play 4 centre-backs across the back line, Gvardiol will be one of them back 4, providing, again, competitive competition on that left-hand side for Manchester City, whether that be Ake, Akanji, Diaz, whomever that's going to be, Gvardiol there as well. And again, just like I said with Declan Rice, if City are going to spend 100+ million euros to bring a player in, then to me, if you're spending that amount of money, you've got one aim for them, and that's for them to come into the Manchester City first team rather than just being a squad player. Richard, thanks for tuning in, says that he reckons Declan Rice is going to stay in London. Be an interesting one. We'll have to wait and see. Declan Rice certainly isn't dismissing any move right now and seems open to both an Arsenal move and a Manchester City move. So it's all about who's going to agree that fee, who are West Ham going to choose to accept that bid from, and if they do accept a bid from either one of City or Arsenal, are the other team going to match that, and is it going to be a choice for Declan Rice as to who he joins? We'll have to wait and see. Phil asking, any wingers coming? We need speed for Haaland. Not heard anything about wingers. It's very quiet, and actually, wingers would make a lot of sense for Manchester City. It allows us to move Phil Foden more into the middle, and if we're to do that, and if Mahrez was to leave, we certainly, definitely need a winger. If Bernardo Silva or a Mahrez leaves, we definitely need a winger. It'd be great to have a bit of pace, but no wingers right now being linked with Manchester City, but we'll see. Jad asked the same question there about wingers. No real updates on that as of yet. Phil, spot on. Barcelona always trying to get cheap deals from Manchester City. It's just how it is. It's how their finances are. It has to be low budget. It has to be free transfers for them to be able to afford to bring players in to freshen their squad up. I messaged Mixid, thanks for tuning in by the way, Mixid, before, and I called Barcelona a retirement home, which is very much what they're looking at, signing players who are going into their 30s, got no sell-on value whatsoever. They're not making any money because that's the only way they can go out there and make transfers happen. I've heard with Gundogan, they're putting a massive release clause, I think like £500 million. It's just not going to happen at his age, but that's just how Barcelona are doing their business right now because that's the only way that they can do the business, but there we go. Renell, thanks very much for tuning in. Marius, thanks for tuning in as well. Much appreciated. I do apologise if there is a little bit of lag. It's not showing any lag on my end, showing all clear, excellent connection. So I'm not too sure. Could be my end. It's just may not being reported. We'll have to wait and see. Stanley asks, what about Federico Valverde and Moussa Diaby? And Josco, Manchester City need to sign them. First, I've heard about Federico Valverde or Moussa Diaby. I think these are very much just players that Manchester City fans would like for us to be in, rather than us having fact over fiction here. But as it comes in terms of attacking players, I'm just not hearing anything as of right now. Pretty quiet on that front. And Josko Gvardio's gone pretty quiet, but that may be because Man City have turned their attention towards Mateo Kovacic and Declan Rice as of right now. Chino, thanks very much for tuning in. It says he thinks Calvin Phillips has got to rise to the occasion and to give him a chance. I think Calvin Phillips' attitude has been absolutely spot on for me. He is dedicated, passionate, he wants to do well, he has that desire. If he can keep himself injury-free and he can work his way into the Manchester City squad, I don't think he'll have any problem. He has the quality, definitely. I think 100% he has the quality. I think it's all about being in that position to get his opportunity, to get his chance to showcase what he can do. Not helped himself back after the World Cup, turning up overweight. Pep Guardiola wasn't happy with him. Not helped himself. But since then, he's doing all the right things. He's shown his frustration. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's passionate. I like that. He will get given his opportunity. A season, it's very long. City end up playing 60-plus games. And as we're playing 60-plus games, we cannot play the same 11 week in, week out. So he will get given his chance. When he does get given his chance, he needs to grab it with both hands. He needs to be the best player on the pitch. That's how he'll get starts. That's how he'll work his way into the starting 11 for Manchester City. But as of right now, not sure. I wouldn't rule out him leaving Manchester City. I personally would keep him, but as I said, summer is long, anything can happen. Cyro, sorry if I've said your name wrong, but thanks very much for tuning in. Says, we have to remember Gundo wasn't the player when he came now than when he came to the club. It happens with age, doesn't it? Gundogan, to me, he's like fine wine. He was one of them players, the big games, you needed a player to really step up. Gundogan was that player. He can step up. He's a fantastic player. It'd be very interesting now that he goes to Barcelona. No disrespect to Barcelona, but I certainly don't think in terms of their squad depth and certainly how strong their squad is, they're not as good as Manchester City. So the players around him won't be as good as what he's had at City. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to shine at Barcelona and really pull everyone else up to scratch, or whether Gundogan's going to go out there and he's not going to have the players like De Bruyne around him, which gives him the freedom and all of a sudden looks a little bit isolated. We'll have to wait and see. Lee, thanks very much for tuning in. Says, would love to nick him. I presume they're about Declan Rice. Right under the noses of Arsenal. Could well happen. Mario says Rodri and Rice in the midfield would be a cheat code. It certainly makes Manchester City's defence look a lot stronger without actually adding any defenders, which is a remarkable thing to do. Mac Football says if Calvin Phillips goes to West Ham and City buys Declan Rice, that would be great according to the current situation of the market. Do you think that he will be willing to go without forcing? I think a big problem you've got if we need Calvin Phillips to go, I don't think he will go, and I don't think Man City will force him out. We certainly shouldn't be bringing players in and then a year later, just a year, 12 months, it isn't a long time, and saying, actually, we don't want you here, you need to leave now so we can bring somebody else in. It's a little bit disrespectful to Calvin Phillips, and I think Man City will give him that option of saying, if you want to leave, you've got this offer, we will accept the offer if you want to leave, but if you don't, we won't accept them, we will tell them that we're not interested in selling. It'll be very, very interesting, because Calvin Phillips wants to stay at Manchester City, wants to fight for his place, he wants to prove himself. He feels like he's not proved himself. If he leaves Manchester City, he'll feel like a flop. He really will. He'll feel like he was great at Leeds, he was Mr. Leeds, comes to Manchester City, couldn't hack it, wasn't good enough. Within 12 months, he's out of it, and he's going to West Ham instead. That, to him, shows failure. He doesn't want to show failure, so it won't be easy for Calvin Phillips to leave. If Manchester City want to bring in competition and City sit down with Calvin Phillips and say, look, we've added quality to our midfield, we're struggling to get space in our squad, West Ham are promising you some minutes here, this would be the best for your development, do you want to leave? All about how you're wording it and what you wanted. I imagine Man City do always like to keep things, Man City just like to keep things as they are and leave everything up to the player. If a player wants to leave, they can leave. If a player wants to stay, they can stay. And that's, at the end of the day, is how Manchester City manage their transfers. Jad says, if Walker goes, do I think that we're going to get a right back, maybe swap him for Mazraoui from Bayern? I think Man City like the idea of centre-backs at the moment. And I've heard rumours, again, just rumours, nothing to be read into them, but I've heard rumours that Kyle Walker, if he does leave Manchester City, all eyes on centre-backs, have no plan right now, even with a Cancelo and a Walker leaving, of looking at full-backs. It'd be very interesting should they both leave in this window, because literally, whilst Ake can cover at left-back, and Gomez can cover at left-back, neither of them are natural full-backs. We could have a situation where we literally have no natural full-backs. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll see. We'll see. Warlow says, reckons we need some fullbacks and a goalkeeper. A goalkeeper, that's very interesting. For us to bring a goalkeeper in, it means, James Trafford will be leaving. Whether that be on loan or permanently remains to be seen. So it leaves us with 3 goalkeepers. Carson's just signed a new deal, so he's going nowhere. Means we're left with 2 goalkeepers. Edison's going nowhere. And I don't think Ortega Moreno's going anywhere either. So I'm not too sure City will address anything in terms of a goalkeeper. Jammer, thanks for tuning in, says, who do I want us to sign the most? That's an interesting question. If I could pick any player out there to bring into Manchester City as of right now, who I think would offer something to City, would probably be Joshua Kimmich. I think he's an upgrade on something that we don't already have in our squad. His ball playing ability is phenomenal. I don't think he'd cost as much as Declan Rice, and I think he's top quality, so we'll have to wait and see. As Pred said, don't need another goalkeeper. Stop the nonsense. I don't see it happening, if I'm completely honest. I don't see any goalkeeper happening. I don't see a fullback happening in this window, but we'll have to wait and see. Patrick, thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for the $4.99 donation. Much appreciated. It says, doesn't manage to catch many live streams, but loves the content, loves the idea of Rice. Another captain mentality. Feels like a lot of experience. He's only 24. I didn't even know he was just 24 years old. 24 years old. That is crazy. He's only just starting to enter into his prime right now. Really sit back, digest, and think about that. That is absolutely crazy. And Declan Rice, I like the idea. I think he's a good player. I think he's a really good player. I'd be more than happy for Manchester City to sign Declan Rice. It's just a very complicated transfer. My only doubt I have on the transfer is making the transfer happen, not the transfer itself. But we'll see. I'm happy with Rice. But thank you, Patrick, so much for the donation, helping to support the future content created here on my channel. Remember, if anyone is putting any donations into the channel, remember, all money, all income that comes into the JSGC channel just gets put straight back into the JSGC channel and providing top quality content for you guys to enjoy. Right, guys, I've got roughly around 5 more minutes left of being live, so let me know some of your questions in the live chat. I'll just very quickly get through the remainder that I've not already done. Kurt Kidd, thanks for tuning in, says we've got many players in that position. I think Calvin Phillips should go to West Ham for Rice to come in, and bringing in Kovacic with Gundogan leaving, Phillips out, Rice in. There we go, reckons Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips should leave. Muddy Duck, thanks for tuning in. Says we don't need another right back. If we've got Gvardiol, we'll have 7 players at the back, which is why Kyle Walker could leave. As I said, City's just stocking up on centre-backs rather than full-backs and just telling these centre-backs to adapt. You're playing as a full-back. Akanji Stones, you're our right-back, so to speak. Nathan Ake, Josko Gvardiol, you're our left-back. And I think that's the direction Manchester City are going in. Alexis, love that. Isco. We can't have a transfer window without speaking about Isco. Where's Isco playing these days? I know he left Real Madrid and I've kind of lost track of where he's ended up going to. Pred Hunter, spot on there. Gvardiol is a left-footed centre-back. He'd be a Laporte replacement. We need Laporte to leave for Gvardiol to be brought in. Waller says if Phillips could be more adaptable in Pep's system, then he would definitely get more minutes. I agree. He's not physical or tall enough to be a centre-back. Can play in that holding midfield role. I don't think in further advance, I don't think he's good enough on the ball or good enough in his attacking ability to be able to play further upfield in Manchester City's midfield. Just doesn't seem like he fits the system, but he's got a great attitude. I really do hope it works out for him. I really do, but we'll see. Muddy Duck makes a good point. We do still have Zach Steffen. I forgot that we still have Zach Steffen. He's got interest from Middlesbrough, but not heard anything else about that as of right now. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with regards to that one. Patrick, I'd absolutely love Bernardo Silva to stay, but he's one of them players where every summer, season upon season, he gets linked with the exit door. He's got, a couple of years left on his contract now. It may just be a case where he says, look, you might be able to sell me next summer. I think he's got a contract till 2025, so he'll have 1 year left on his deal next summer. It might be a case where he stays for another season, then Manchester City look to sell him. Maybe Barcelona's finances might be a bit better. Maybe a club in Iberia will be more interested in bringing Bernardo Silva in if he's available for under £50 million, because at the moment City asking for in excess of £70 million, which is a lot of money. There's very few clubs in Europe that can afford that. Real Madrid are one of them. They don't seem interested in Bernardo Silva. PSG are another. Is Bernardo Silva interested in playing for PSG? He's got offers from outside of Europe in Saudi Arabia. If he wants to earn a lot of money, he can go and do that for a few seasons and then go to either Barcelona or go back home to Portugal. We'll have to wait and see with what happens with regards to that one. But what I will say is I think it will be a big loss for Manchester City, a really big loss for Manchester City. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we can keep Bernardo Silva because he is quality. He is absolutely magnificent. He is a player, as we were just speaking about with Calvin Phillips there, can you adapt your game? Bernardo Silva came to Manchester City, he was a winger, ended up playing as a central midfielder, attacking midfielder, defensive midfielder, went to left back earlier in the season, and now he's back out wide, not playing on the left, but this time playing as a right winger instead, and that is the situation that we are sitting in as of right now. Muddy Duck says City have been getting linked with Nico Williams. Not really heard too much about wingers. It's just more Man City are interested, and Man City are interested in a lot of players. Will Man City make the move? That's the next step. Transfers are done in what I call hurdle stages. Interest is the first stage. Moves on to Manchester City solidifying their interest and wanting to make a move is the next stage. Manchester City holding discussions is the next stage. Agreeing personal terms is the next one. Agreeing the fee is the next one. Then it's the medical, signing it and getting it over the line is how transfers work with Manchester City. So to summarise before I end the live stream in just one moment, Mateo Kovacic, he will become a Manchester City player in the coming days. Medical today, personal terms agreed, fee agreed with Chelsea, £30 million. It's £25 million as the fee with £5 million in add-ons. Manchester City, various sources suggesting leading the race for Declan Rice. Manchester City finalising up a deal. No bidding as of yet. Manchester City will wait until they've got clarification from West Ham that they will accept that bid for that bid to go in. Other sources are reporting Declan Rice wants to join Arsenal, so we await further clarification and a little bit more reliability being put on the story. In terms of all the other players at the moment, murmurs, whispers, rumours, gossip, and we love that on the JSGC channel. So that's been today's transfer show. Episode number 1. We're going to be running it as a weekly series, so I will see you guys again live next week for you guys to look forward to. Remember, if you haven't already tuned in and not seen any of my content before, go and check it out. Daily Manchester City transfer updates. Remember, subscribe to my channel, press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Also, don't forget as well, social media links. They're in the description below and on the yellow banner too. If you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Email also in the description too. If you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries, leave a thumbs up as well. That would be much appreciated. Also, don't forget to let me know your thoughts if you're watching this after the video, then in the comments below. Or on the live chat right now whilst we are live, as Big Morgan says, what about Isco? I don't even know where Isco's playing his trade anymore. But he likes to get linked with a move to Manchester City. Do you know what? If he does his coaching badges, do you reckon he'll end up manager of Manchester City one day? Assistant manager. Maybe that's going to be Man City's new assistant manager. We'll have to see. Apparently that's going to be Juan Marlilo returning back from Qatar. That's the latest on that. Yeah, I'll see you guys again real soon. Thank you everybody for watching. Much appreciated. Thank you to everybody that's left a thumbs up. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed. Thank you to everyone that's shown the love and dedication to my channel. And thank you, Patrick, for the donation before. Much appreciated. Salute and shout out to you, sir. And I'll see you all again real soon. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.